First contact in flames. The desert moon of Tarova howled with red dust storms as Captain Nora Voss trudged across the fractured landscape. Her combat suit's filters wheezed with each breath, struggling against the planet's caustic atmosphere. The weight of her scout pack and depleted power cells made each step a battle of will, rather than strength. "Echo 9, report position," crackled her comm unit. Nora paused, scanning the horizon where dusk painted the sky a bruised purple. "Echo 9 at Sector 14G. Nothing but rocks and regret, Command. Continue sweep. Reports of Caltheri scout ships in your quadrant." "Copy that," she muttered, adjusting her plasma rifle. 3 days of recon, and all she'd found were the bleached bones of this war-torn moon, until now. The wreckage appeared suddenly as she crested a ridge, a sleek, obsidian vessel half buried in sand, its hull punctured by what she recognized as Commonwealth artillery fire. Smoke still spiraled from the twisted metal, dancing with the dust devils that circled the crash site. Nora approached cautiously, weapon raised. The Caltheri were known for their ambush tactics, and a downed ship made perfect bait. Her scanner registered a faint energy signature, nothing more. "Anybody home?" she called out, her voice rough from dust and dehydration. "Just a friendly neighborhood human with a really big gun." A scraping sound from behind the wreckage sent her diving for cover. She rolled behind a chunk of hull plating, cursing as her knee struck rock. The sound came again, wet, rasping, organic. Following her training, Nora circled wide, tracking a trail of luminescent violet fluid that glowed against the red sand. Caltheri blood. The stuff was infamous for its bioluminescent properties. Soldiers joked it made them easier to hunt in the dark. She found the source slumped against a twisted landing strut. A Caltheri warrior, tall and lean with iridescent scales that shifted from deep indigo to midnight under the failing light. Its breathing came in ragged gasps, right arm clutching a wound where its chest plates had been shattered. Nora leveled her weapon at the alien's head. "Don't move." The Caltheri's eyes snapped open, vertical pupils expanding in recognition. In a blur of movement that defied its wounded state, it lunged forward, a vibrating blade materializing in its hand. Nora fired instinctively, but the shot went wide as the alien slammed into her. They tumbled down the embankment, a tangle of limbs and curses. When they stopped rolling, the Caltheri had its blade pressed against her throat, its weight pinning her to the ground. "Human," it hissed, voice like gravel wrapped in silk. The universal translator in Nora's helmet struggled to catch up with the alien dialect. "Your kinda destroyed my ship." "Wasn't me personally," Nora managed, feeling the blade's heat against her skin. "I just got here." The Caltheri's face hovered, inches from hers, features sharp and predatory, but its eyes held something beyond hatred. Pain, exhaustion, the same look she'd seen in the mirror too many times. "You should kill me now," she said calmly. "Because if you don't, we'll be right back here in about 10 seconds, except I'll be holding the blade." The alien stared, then made a sound that might have been a laugh on a human. "You have courage for prey, and you're bleeding all over my favorite combat suit," Nora replied. "So maybe we call this one a draw?" The Caltheri's grip faltered slightly, and Nora saw her opening. With a practiced move, she hooked her leg around its torso and pushed, rolling them both. The blade skittered away as they separated. Both warriors scrambled to their feet, Nora retrieving her rifle while the Caltheri crouched defensively despite its wound. They faced each other, panting in the dying light. "You're hurt," Nora said finally, lowering her weapon slightly. "Badly. Your observation skills are remarkable," the alien replied dryly. "I have medical supplies, and I have pride." Nora rolled her eyes. "Pride makes terrible bandages. Trust me, I've tried." The Caltheri swayed slightly, catching itself against the wreckage. Violet blood pulsed from between its fingers where they pressed against its side. "My name is Nora Voss," she said, slowly placing her rifle on the ground. "Captain, Commonwealth Forces, and you're going to pass out in about 30 seconds unless you let me help you." The alien regarded her with suspicious eyes. "I am Zevkor." Hunter class, 3rd Fleet. It paused, then added reluctantly, "Why would you help your enemy?" Nora shrugged, already reaching for her medkit. "Because out here we're both just soldiers who got left behind." 20 minutes later, they sat in the shadow of the crashed ship. An uneasy truce established over the application of biofoam to Zevkor's wound. The alien's physiology was different, but similar enough that the emergency sealant stemmed the bleeding. "Your forces abandoned you?" Zevkor asked, examining the human's handiwork with a critical eye. "Not abandoned. Strategically overlooked." Nora took a swig from her canteen. "Command ordered a full retreat after your armada hit our defense line. I was too far out on recon to make the extraction." She offered the water. "You?" Zevkor hesitated, then accepted. "I was left to ensure the destruction of vital intelligence. My ship was damaged in the engagement. I failed my mission. So were both disappointments to our respective militaries." Fantastic. Night fell quickly on Tarova, bringing with it a bone-deep cold that contrasted sharply with the day's heat. Nora activated emergency thermal cells while Zevkor watched with guarded curiosity. "Your technology is primitive," the alien observed, says the guy whose spaceship is currently modern art. Nora gestured to the wreckage. "Any chance of salvaging communications?" Zevkor shook its head. "The core systems were destroyed in the crash." "Perfect." Nora consulted her tactical display. "There's an abandoned mining outpost about 15 clicks east. Might have comms equipment we can use." "Can you walk? Can you keep up?" the alien countered. They set out at dawn, an unlikely pair crossing the dusty wasteland. Zevkor moved with a fluid grace despite its injury, while Nora maintained a soldier's steady pace. They spoke little, but the silence gradually shifted, from hostile to companionable. By midday, the temperature had risen to blistering levels. Nora's suit cooling system struggled to compensate, and even Zevkor, adapted to harsher environments, showed signs of strain. "Tell me, human," the alien said suddenly, breaking hours of silence. "Why does your kind fight?" Nora considered the question. "Same as yours, I imagine. Resources, territory, orders from people who don't have to do the dying. You do not believe in the righteousness of your cause? I believe in getting my people home alive. Everything else is politics." Zevkor made that strange laughing sound again. "Perhaps our species are not so different. Don't let your superiors hear you say that. Mine would have me court-martialed for fraternizing with the enemy. Mine would have me executed," Zevkor replied flatly. They crested a ridge and paused, taking in the landscape below. The outpost was visible now, a cluster of low structures half reclaimed by the desert. "Looks deserted," Nora commented, scanning with her tactical visor. "No power signatures, no movement. A trap, perhaps?" Only one way to find out. The outpost had clearly been abandoned in haste, equipment left mid-operation, personal effects scattered. Nora headed straight for the communications hub while Zevkor examined the perimeter with professional caution. "Command won't be happy if I bring back a Kalthiri," Nora said, working to restart the ancient comm system. "They'll probably shoot first. Ask questions never." "My people would do the same," Zevkor admitted, inspecting a Commonwealth tactical map left pinned to a wall. "We are taught that humans are cruel, chaotic creatures with no honor, and we're told the Kalthiri are cold-blooded killers who want to exterminate humanity." Nora glanced up. "Yet here we are not killing each other. Funny how that works." The communications console sputtered to life, ancient tech groaning under Nora's ministrations. "Got it." Zevkor moved closer, watching as she calibrated the frequency. "You will call your people now?" "That's the plan. Get evacuated, get debriefed, get a shower that doesn't involve sand in uncomfortable places." The alien's expression shifted, impossible to read. "And what of me?" Nora's hands paused over the controls. The question hung between them, heavy with implication. By all rights, Zevkor was a prisoner of war, intelligence to be extracted, and enemy to be contained. But somehow, over the course of one brutal day on this forgotten moon, those labels had begun to fade. "I don't know," she admitted. But I'm not leaving you to die out here. Zevkor's vertical pupils widened slightly. You would risk punishment for an enemy? Maybe you're not the enemy I thought you were. Nora shrugged, trying to downplay the weight of her words. Besides, someone needs to tell both sides what's actually happening out here. This war's based on lies and misunderstandings. Maybe we can— A distant explosion cut her off, rattling the outpost foundations. Both warriors tensed, reaching for weapons instinctively. Orbital bombardment, Zevkor identified, moving to the viewpoint. Commonwealth patterns. They're targeting your crash site, Nora realized, rushing to complete the comm setup. They must think. A second explosion, closer this time. The console sparked as the building shook. Nora, Zevkor said quietly, using her name for the first time. They will not distinguish between us if they find us together. Their eyes met. Across the failing equipment, a moment of perfect understanding between soldiers from opposite sides of a conflict neither fully believed in anymore. The comm unit finally connected, a channel opening to Commonwealth Command. Nora hesitated, her finger hovering over the transmit button, the choice before her suddenly monumental. Zevkor watched her, wounded but dignified, no longer the faceless enemy of propaganda but a person, complex, honorable, alive. What will you tell them? The alien asked softly. The building trembled again as another impact shook the horizon. Nora took a deep breath and made her decision. Bridge across stars. The building shuddered as another explosion tore through the wasteland outside. Dust rained from the ceiling, coating Nora's shoulders like premature snow. They're getting closer, she muttered, still frozen before the blinking comm unit. Decision time. Life or death, written in the simplest of choices. Zevkor moved to the viewport, scaling plates shifting to a deeper indigo as the alien assessed the threat. Your forces are thorough. They will leave nothing alive. Nora's finger hovered over the transmit button. One press and Commonwealth forces would descend. Rescue for her. Capture, or worse, for Zevkor. To hell with protocol, she decided, slamming her palm onto the console. Instead of activating the direct channel, she punched in an emergency broadcast frequency, an open channel that would reach both Commonwealth and Kalthiri receivers. This is Captain Nora Voss, Echo 9, she announced, voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Broadcasting on open frequency to all vessels. I am at mining outpost Delta 7 with a wounded Kalthiri officer. We have critical intelligence regarding the conflict. Request immediate cessation of bombardment and diplomatic extraction. Repeat, this is a diplomatic situation. Zevkor's head snapped toward her, vertical pupils dilating in what might have been shock. What are you doing? Improvising, Nora said, heart hammering against her ribs. Do you trust me? The alien studied her face, ancient eyes searching for deception. I have no reason to. Yet here we are. Another explosion rocked the outpost, closer this time. The lights flickered, plunging them into momentary darkness before emergency systems kicked in. The comm unit crackled to life, a voice cutting through static. Echo 9. This is Commonwealth Command. You are harboring an enemy combatant. Stand down and prepare for extraction. The Kalthiri will be taken into custody. Nora exchanged glances with Zevkor. Not exactly the diplomatic response I was hoping for. The alien's posture stiffened. Your people never intended peace. This war serves those in power on both sides. Maybe, Nora conceded, switching off the comm. Or maybe they just need convincing. She moved to a supply locker, yanking it open, to reveal dust-covered equipment. We need to get out of here before they reduce this place to a crater. And go where? Zevkor demanded, the wound in its side pulsing with violet light as agitation increased its heart rate. There is nowhere on this moon that your forces cannot find us. Nora pulled out a portable shield generator, testing its charge. Then we don't stay on the moon. She gestured toward the outpost's hangar bay. Tell me you know how to fly something other than that fancy scrap heap you crashed. For the first time, a genuine expression of surprise crossed the alien's features. You would desert your post, your people? I'm not deserting anyone, Nora said, gathering supplies with practiced efficiency. I'm trying to save them from a pointless war. Now, are you coming, or would you prefer to be an interspecies political incident? The hangar bay housed a single transport vessel, outdated, dust-covered, but intact. Nora worked on the power systems, while Zevkor, with unexpected technical aptitude, reconfigured the navigational computer. "This craft is primitive," the alien commented, long fingers dancing over the control panel. "But its simplicity may work in our favor. No modern tracking systems." "Don't sound so surprised," Nora replied, coaxing the engines to life. "We humans are resourceful. We didn't get to the stars by giving up when things got difficult." Another series of explosions rocked the outpost, this time near enough to send tremors through the hangar floor. Warning klaxons began to blare. "They've found us," Zevkor said unnecessarily. "Time to go." Nora jumped into the pilot's seat, running through emergency launch procedures. "Hope you're not afraid of a rough ride." The transport shuddered as its ancient drives engaged, hangar doors grinding open to reveal the blood-red sky of Tarova. As they lifted off, the outpost behind them erupted in flames, a direct hit from Commonwealth artillery. "Your people are persistent," Zevkor observed, bracing against the ship's violent ascent. "Just wait until they realize we've stolen their transport." Nora fought the controls as they broke through the atmosphere, the little ship protesting every demand she placed on it. "Let's see if diplomatic channels are more receptive from orbit." Space above Tarova was a battlefield. Commonwealth cruisers exchanged fire with Kalthiri vessels, streaks of weapons fire illuminating the darkness like deadly constellations. Nora guided their transport into the shadow of a debris field, hoping to avoid immediate detection. "This is suicide," Zevkor stated flatly, watching the battle unfold before them. "Probably," Nora agreed, activating the communications array, "but I've survived worse odds." She broadcast again on the open channel. "Attention all vessels. This is Captain Nora Voss with Kalthiri Officer Zevkor. We are in an unarmed mining transport and request immediate ceasefire in Sector 7. We have information vital to both sides of this conflict." Silence greeted her transmission. Then, simultaneously, both Commonwealth and Kalthiri channels activated. "Captain Voss, you are ordered to surrender the Kalthiri prisoner and return to Commonwealth space immediately," came the first message. "Hunter Zevkor, you dishonor the Empire by consorting with the enemy. Return for judgment or face execution," came the second. Zevkor's scales darkened with what Nora now recognized as anger. As expected, neither side will listen. "Then we make them listen." Nora punched in new coordinates. "Tell me about the intelligence you were supposed to destroy." The alien hesitated, centuries of conditioning visible in its reluctance. "It was a communications log, proof that the initial attacks attributed to Commonwealth forces were falsified." "What?" Nora's head snapped toward Zevkor. "The colony massacres?" "Orchestrated by a faction within Kalthiri High Command. The same faction that profits from prolonged conflict." Zevkor's voice dropped lower. "Just as I suspect certain elements within your Commonwealth benefit from this war." Nora's mind raced. The colony massacres, civilian outposts destroyed with no survivors, had been the spark that ignited the current conflict. Humanity had retaliated, the Kalthiri escalated, and 3 years of brutal war had followed. "We need proof," she said finally. "Your word against High Command won't be enough." "The proof was in my ship," Zevkor replied. "Now reduced to ash by your forces." A warning light flashed on the console. "We've got company," Nora announced, reading the scanner. "Commonwealth interceptors moving fast." She pushed the transport harder, diving toward an asteroid field at the edge of the system. The ship wasn't designed for evasive maneuvers, but it was small and surprisingly nimble in experienced hands. "Can you fight?" she asked, glancing at Zevkor's wound. "Until my last breath," the alien affirmed, already moving toward the ship's meager defensive controls. The first shots from the interceptors flashed past their viewport, warning shots designed to disable rather than destroy. Nora wove through the asteroid field, using the natural cover to break pursuit patterns while Zevkor returned fire with just enough accuracy to keep their hunters at a distance. "We cannot outrun them forever," the alien said, voice strained from the exertion of combat while wounded. "We don't need forever," Nora replied, a plan forming. "Just long enough to reach the neutral trading post at Kelris Station. If we can get there, we can appeal directly to the Interstellar Commerce Guild. The Commerce Guild has no military power. No, but they have something more valuable: economic influence and a direct line to both our governments." Nora programmed the jump coordinates. "And they're notoriously opposed to wars that disrupt their profit margins." A direct hit rocked their ship, systems flickering as damage control protocols engaged. Zevkor was thrown from the weapon station, landing hard against the bulkhead with a hiss of pain. Nora abandoned the pilot's seat long enough to reach the alien side. "You're bleeding again." "An observation," Zevkor said dryly, echoing their earlier exchange. "Not a solution." Despite everything, Nora laughed. "You're learning human sarcasm." "I'm not sure if that's progress or corruption. Perhaps both." The alien struggled back to its station. "The jump drive?" "Charging. 2 minutes until ready." Those 2 minutes stretched into eternity as they fended off increasingly accurate attacks. The transport's shields were failing, hull integrity compromised in 3 sections. Nora sealed off the damaged areas, rerouting power to essential systems. 30 seconds, she called, hands flying over the controls. A massive explosion directly behind them sent the ship tumbling. Alarms blared as the artificial gravity fluctuated. Nora fought to stabilize their trajectory, but the damage was too severe. "Jump drive critically damaged," the computer announced. "Jump sequence aborted." "No." Nora slammed her fist against the console. "Reroute all remaining power. We need 1 jump." "There is insufficient power," the computer replied implacably. Zevkor moved to her side, studying the damage readouts. "The life support systems still have emergency reserves." Their eyes met in silent understanding. "If we divert life support to the jump drive," Nora began, "we will have approximately 7 minutes of oxygen after the jump," Zevkor finished. "Insufficient for survival, but perhaps enough to transmit our message." Another hit rocked the ship. "Decision time again." "Do it," Nora said. Zevkor's clawed hands moved with surprising gentleness over the control panel, executing the power transfer. The jump drive hummed back to life as the environmental system shut down one by one. "Ready," the alien announced. Nora activated the jump sequence. Space distorted around them, stars stretching into streaks of light as the damaged transport tore through the fabric of reality itself. The transition was rougher than any jump Nora had experienced, a testament to their ship's damaged state. When they emerged, Kelris Station hung before them, a spinning wheel of commerce and neutrality against the backdrop of deep space. Warning indicators immediately flashed across the console. Oxygen levels dropping. Core systems failing. Communication. "Relays damaged. We need to broadcast now," Nora said, fighting lightheadedness as the air thinned. "Short range only. Direct to the station." Zevkor slumped in the co-pilot seat, violet blood seeping through the makeshift bandages. "Allow me," the alien said, breath coming in shallow gasps as it activated the final transmission. "This is Hunter Zevkor of the Kalthiri Empire and Captain Nora Voss of the Commonwealth. We have evidence of conspiracy regarding the colony massacres that began this war. The attacks were orchestrated by war profiteers within both our governments. We offer our testimony and our lives as proof of our conviction." The message sent. They waited in the growing silence as oxygen levels continued to fall. The station hadn't responded yet, perhaps deliberating, perhaps preparing rescue vessels, perhaps simply ignoring them. "If we die here," Zevkor said quietly. "Was it worth it?" Nora reached across the space between them, her hand finding the aliens in a gesture neither of their species had shared before. "Ask me when we know if it worked." Optimistic to the end, Zevkor observed, scales fading to a paler blue as oxygen deprivation took its toll. "It's a human failing," Nora replied, vision beginning to blur. We never know when to give up. The communication panel suddenly illuminated. A voice broke through static. Unidentified vessel. This is Kelris Station. Rescue shuttle deployed. Maintain position. Diplomatic representatives from both Commonwealth and Calthiri delegations have been notified. Relief washed over Nora like a physical force. They heard us. Whether they listen, Zevkor said, remains to be seen. As darkness crept at the edges of her consciousness, Nora squeezed the alien's hand tighter. One bridge at a time, friend. One bridge at a time. The last thing she saw before unconsciousness claimed her was Zevkor's face. No longer the face of an enemy, but of an ally. Perhaps even a friend. Different species, different worlds, united by something stronger than the war that had brought them together. In the vacuum of space, their small ship drifted toward the station, a tiny, broken vessel carrying a fragile hope for peace between stars.